Family disputes can make us feel isolated and vulnerable. Maybe you're going through a divorce or a legal dispute about your kids. Perhaps you've spent hours on Google or have even posted anonymously on Facebook to see what others have to say. But are you getting the actual information and support that you're looking for? Our podcast, Legal Lounge, aims to dispel misinformation and downright bad legal information to empower anyone with questions about their family, their children, their finances, their marriage, and the law. As a team focused exclusively on family law matters, we aim to help listeners not only with the information they need, but also with the hope that their situation has a solution. Short disclaimer, please note this podcast is for educational purposes only, and the information should not be relied upon as legal advice or for legal purposes. Today on our episode of Legal Lounge, I am honored to have my favorite person on our episode, and this favorite person is, of course, my mother.
Hi, I'm Eileen Gonzalez.
We refer to her as the Madre. We are Puerto Rican, and we speak a little bit of Spanish in the household.
Yeah.
And so I've referred to her as the Madre for quite a while.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. So, and I'm excited because, I mean, everything is a big circle, if you will.
Yes.
You've raised me. You've known me since I was a little kid. And here we are on a podcast being produced by my law firm, which is a family law firm.
Yes.
And all of this podcast, this law firm, everything, nods off to you. I mean, you raised me.
Yes, I did.
Yes. You're like, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And I'm very proud of you. It has been quite a challenge. Well, it's been a long road.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
It's just been a long road, and it's been a sad road.
Mm-hmm. To give the listener a bit of context, so our family was wrought with domestic violence and child abuse when I was younger. And my mother, being the strongest person I know, not only endured a domestic violence situation for almost the entirety of her marriage, but also is a breast cancer survivor, right?
Yes, yeah. That's right.
Yep. So in today's episode, we're going to go a little bit further into my mom's story. Let's go back in history. So you were born in Puerto Rico.
Yes, I was born in Puerto Rico, and I was raised in New York City.
In New York City. And I know that you studied a few different things while you were there. Like you were at a beauty parlor at one point.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
When I was, oh my goodness, about 11, 12 years old, I used to sweep the beauty parlor.
Yeah.
And then I got graduated to washing hair.
Yes.
They taught me how to wash hair. And then from there, they graduated me to how to put rollers on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then from there, they taught me how to do perms.
Yep.
I don't even know if they do perms anymore.
I think it's a rarity nowadays, but I think they still do them.
You know, but I was still sweeping floors, though, after haircuts.
Yeah.
And I would get my quarter tips.
Yes.
Yay, quarter tips. And I actually used to rack up with quarters. And I used to give my mom some quarters.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
I did that little job all through high school, actually.
What my mom is failing to say is that she also learned how to do hair. So she was my hairstylist through high school. I still think some people are envious of my updos when I would go to all the school dances, for sure. Thanks in great part to my mom's handiwork.
Yeah. The curls.
And the curls. And
Yeah.
And you moved to New York City when you were in what grade? When you were 7 years old?
About 7 or 8.
7, 8
around
years
there.
old? Yep.
8. Yeah.
And it's interesting because in Puerto Rico, I know you spoke Spanish, right?
Yeah, the first thing that we were taught in Puerto Rico was the alphabet.
Yeah.
We had to know the alphabet.
Yeah.
So yes, when I came to the States, I already knew the alphabet.
Yeah. Of English, but that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. So then you start at 8 years old actually learning English.
Yes.
And secret to the world, you do not know Spanish anymore. Pretty much.
Well, needless to say, I struggled in school.
Yeah.
Because back in those days, there was no such thing as bilingual classes or anything. You got in there and you learned your English.
Yeah.
And yes, I did struggle.
Yeah.
I realized that if I ever had children, English was going to be the primary language because of all the struggles that I went through.
Yeah.
And I didn't want my kids to go through that.
And let's go one step further. I also know that in a Puerto Rican household, it was common for the females, the girls, to learn more about the household chores versus being encouraged to go to higher education.
That's correct. Yeah. Yes, because back then it was like, oh, you don't have to keep going to school. Mm-hmm. You're going to meet a young man, you're going to get married, and he's going to support you.
Yep. And that support, it was to support the whole family financially. And so a Puerto Rican wife's role was to know how to cook and clean and sew the clothes and provide for those child rearing duties, if you will.
Yes.
And so that's what you were raised in, right?
Right.
And you were also raised in a Catholic household.
Yes.
Right? Went to mass every Sunday?
Yes. Had to go
Actually,
to
more than once a week, right?
Religious instructions. Oh my God, I'll never forget. Religious instructions. Had to go to my confession every Saturday. Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Mm-hmm. And in that environment, it was, in a way, thrust upon you that you finish out school, or high school at least, you find someone to marry, and that's your role for the rest of your life.
Yes. Okay. For the most part.
For the most part. And so after high school, what did you end up doing?
I did go to Manhattan Community College in New York City.
And is that where you met my biological father?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I know you wanted to be a nurse, wasn't it, at one point?
Yes.
You actually wanted to be a military nurse.
Actually, I wanted to be a flight nurse in the military.
Yeah.
But of course, my brother discouraged me.
Yeah.
He's a Vietnam vet now.
Yeah.
But at that time, he discouraged me and told my mom no.
Yeah. And then your mom was like, no.
Exactly.
And so you did go to school, and there were different things that you wanted to study, but that didn't always seem to be encouraged necessarily in the household.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you found this person, the biological father of me, that was almost a endeavor that was more supported by your family than your studies.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Moms really know best.
Yeah.
Okay, but of course, our kids, they don't really see that, which is fine.
Yeah.
My mom didn't like him from the first day that he met him.
Interesting.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, he did not like him at all.
Mm-hmm.
He just, but, I was in love.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one of those things that we just clicked.
Yeah. And how old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
Lord, I must have been about 19 or 20 because I ended up getting married at 21. Mm-hmm. Way, way too young. Oh, my God.
But wasn't that the norm then?
Yes.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially in the Puerto Rican and New York Catholic community.
Definitely.
Yeah. Everyone was doing it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I got married.
A beautiful wedding.
Yes, I got married in the Catholic Church, and oh my goodness, it was really, to me, it was beautiful. Simple wedding.
Yeah.
But, I couldn't afford anything else. Anything else, right?
Yeah.
Not like the weddings today, of course. And it was just, to me, it was just perfect at the time.
Yeah.
And then 4 years later, my son came.
Yeah. So you had
that
your
was
first
a blessing.
child. You had a first child 4 years into the into the marriage.
Yes.
And I think you were still living in New York City at this point, right?
Yes.
So you were around family, around friends, and you were working.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I meant to say, I didn't, of course, get to be a flight nurse. However, I became a health information management. Back then, it was called medical records.
Gotcha.
And back then, they used, everything. When you talked about medical records, people thought, oh, my goodness, Eileen, where do you work? Did you work in the basement
Yeah.
where all the files are?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there were files, but no, it wasn't in a basement. And I blossomed from that, really, because I stayed in the field. Through the years, of course, I took the national exam. At that time, it used to be called Accredited Record Technician, ART. Now it's Registered Record Technology Program. And I got into management. I did management for many years.
Yeah.
So healthcare became my passion.
Yeah. And the medical record side. And
Yes.
And I remember this because I remember you pulling out one of your medical books when it was time to talk about the birds and the bees.
Yes.
And you're like, this is the male
The anatomy.
genitalia and this is the female anatomy. And I was like, whoa, this is gross. And you're like, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I learned about the birds and the bees. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a passion for healthcare.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for healthcare.
And so, in terms of bringing clarity about the marital situation from like the financial structure, you always worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always worked.
You never were a
Never
full-time
stopped
stay-at-home
working.
parent. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And I just bring clarity to that because that didn't change the reality, though, that there was a form of financial dependence that was created during the marriage.
Right.
And can you describe for the listener what was my biological father's career in trajectory?
Actually, he was very intelligent. And his career was in computer science.
And back in the 80s, that was huge. 70s and 80s.
Huge.
Yeah.
He used to develop programs.
Yeah. So he was a computer programmer back before there were computer programmers.
Yes, before these separate apps that we have today.
Yeah.
Or going on the iPhone and clicking. No, he used to develop them from scratch.
And so he was working at one of the big businesses, big tech firms in New York City.
Always.
Right? When Joey was born. Yep. And then I came along, but at that point you had already moved to New Jersey.
Yes.
Because I don't get to claim that I'm of the New Yorican phase because I was a Jersey girl.
Yeah. But, they're kind of twins.
They're twins, yeah. Just across the river.
That way because I was always back and forth.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But yes. And then from New Jersey, we bought a house in Pennsylvania.
Yep. So the family moved after I was born from New Jersey to Pennsylvania. Actually lived in the Poconos.
Yes.
I like to joke, and I don't know if this is actually true, but I like to joke that the ski resort was closer than the local grocery store.
Yes.
Was it actually?
Yes.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
But I will
beautiful
say,
up there, though.
Beautiful, still a resort town. But I did like in elementary school. I remember this. There was the extracurricular activity of skiing.
Yes.
And I tell my friends here in North Carolina about that, and it kind of blows their minds. But yeah, every Tuesday and Thursday, I remember every Tuesday and Thursday they would take a bus of us to the local ski lodge.
You were required.
Yeah.
Right. You were required to learn how to ski since you were very young. Yes.
That is interesting.
That was a requirement.
Because there's so much snow up there. You literally, there were times when we were snowed in that you would literally have to put on the skis to get out of your house.
Yeah. So you were very little when you started to ski.
Yeah.
Very,
that's pretty
very
good.
little.
I think that was the start of my adventure.
Yes.
Like spirit.
Yes, definitely. You felt so free.
Yeah. And while we were in the Poconos, and this is where I want to kind of get into the reality of our domestic violence and child abuse situation, because up to this point, for the most part, there had been some disagreements and fighting. But this was the first time that you were actually separated from your family and friends
Yes.
by a long
Yes.
distance. Or was this the second time? Had you been, I think you had moved to Texas actually briefly.
But you weren't born yet.
I wasn't born yet.
Right.
So after I was born, though.
Right. From Texas. Actually, it was from Texas that we moved
To Jersey.
to Jersey, and then from Jersey to
The Poconos.
Poconos.
Yeah. Well, and I guess I want to bring light to the moving a lot, because even in Texas, you weren't near family. There was no family down in Texas.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So all our family is in the New York, New Jersey area at this point. And what I mean by
Yes.
family is not, just parents,
Yeah,
but
the
aunts,
close.
uncles, cousins, all of that. Puerto Ricans. We have a lot of kids. There's a lot of family. And then
Yeah.
of course, we had a lot of family still on the island.
Yes.
And this was the start of some shifts in the marriage, right?
There was one incident which I put away when we were still in New York City. I just put that one away.
Yeah.
I figured, he was just mad. He didn't mean it.
Was it a physical incident or just verbal?
It was both,
Okay.
but nothing traumatizing as far as, yes, it was traumatizing,
Yeah. You still remember it this many years later.
but it was more like a little slap, if I may say. Well, those are things that you put in the bag.
Yeah.
They stay, they never leave you,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and at this point, again, we're in this environment of your priority is the family. Your priority is
Right.
keeping everything together.
I'm already married,
Yeah.
but it happened very early in our marriage, actually very, very early in our marriage, but never happened again, you know.
Never happened again until it happened again.
And
I guess
then
I should
until
say.
it happened again.
Yeah.
When we came back to New Jersey, there were a few incidences. You were a baby. Joey was about 10 years old.
Okay. When you say incidences, what do you mean?
Blow-ups.
And these were blow-ups that you had never seen before.
Well, one time we were going to New Jersey. I mean, to New York from New Jersey, from Island. And you were a baby. We were about to cross the Holland Tunnel to get into New York City. And he was drinking a Coke. I said we were going to his family's house. And he was drinking a Coke. And I don't know, you were in the back and Joey was in the back seat. He was driving, I was on the passenger seat, and he said something and I answered him. And he hit my face with a can of Coke on my left face. So I had this area was black. And he stormed out of the car. It was somewhere before the entrance to the tunnel. And he left us there. Just left us. But thank God I knew how to get to my mom's house.
Well, you knew how to drive.
I knew how to drive.
You knew how to drive, which I want to bring emphasis to that for a second, because in New York City, it's not actually common for New Yorkers to learn how to drive.
That's correct.
Right? It's not common for Puerto Rican wives, Catholic Puerto Rican wives, to learn how to drive. So in a way, luckily, and I don't say thank God lightly, but thank God you had taken the prerogative on yourself to go out, learn how to drive, which I know you've told me stories about how hard it was to learn how to drive in New York City. Yes. I'll leave the listener to imagine how tricky that can be, right? And you knew how to drive. Right. So when this incident occurred, which I know it's a very emotional, thank you for sharing that, but you were there with your 10-year-old, your baby girl, literally probably not even 1 year old at that point, right outside one of the busiest tunnels in the world to date, alone, but you knew how to drive.
Yeah.
Thank God. So
Yeah.
you got in the car
hmm
and you drove to Mama's,
Yes.
which is your mom, my grandmother,
hmm
and you were able to go there.
Yes.
Yeah. And seek safety of your family.
Yes.
Now, I know what you're about to say, just because we've gone through this before. But it's my understanding, Mama, as well as any Catholic priest that you talked to at the time, as well as many other third-party individuals that you talked to at the time, that when you brought these concerns to them, their responses, in general, were, well, you have to work on the marriage.
Well, really, that really wasn't my mom's response
Okay.
on her defense.
Okay.
I didn't tell her.
Mm.
Okay, I composed myself before bringing my kids up to her apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and I composed myself and put my lipstick on and fixed my face, and I just walked in. Hi, Mom.
Kind of
Mary.
surprised her?
Yes, kind
Yeah.
of surprised her. Oh, I'm so happy to see
Yeah.
you and the kids. Of course, she loved my children. And I never told her.
Mm.
So the abuse, the physical, I never told. I never, reality, I never told anybody.
Really? Not
Nobody.
not
No.
until we
No.
figured out how to get out.
Yeah.
But that was
No.
years and years later.
Years, right? The only one that sensed always from a long time ago.
Your best friend
from
Bernadette.
my best friend Bernadette.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, who would say to me, come live with us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take care of you and Terry
Mm-hmm.
and Joey. But I
Yeah.
never did, of
Yeah.
course. I have my own family.
Yeah.
You don't let go of your family.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So I endured.
You endured, because at that point, again, you had a 10-year-old, a 1-year-old, approximately. You have a job that, although you're earning an income and you know how to drive in New York City of all cities, my biological father is making the bulk of the money.
Yes, he controlled everything.
And
My
he controlled all the
salary
money.
went into a joint account.
Yep. So you were not given access to the bank accounts.
No.
And so from a financial perspective, it was very much him in control of all the monies.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. And so then the decision was made to move to the Poconos.
Yes.
And so that actually pulled you further away
Mhm.
from our family at that New Jersey, New York line into Manhattan, right?
Right.
And granted, let's preface this. He still worked in Manhattan.
Yes.
He would wake up, I remember, because I rode with him a couple times,
Mhm.
at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to catch the Marks bus.
Mhm.
And it was
Yes.
a bus that literally
That's
took him
correct.
to and from New York City. How long was it?
2 hours.
2 hour. So he would travel 2 hours into the city and 2 hours out of the city while we lived in the Poconos.
Right.
Rather secluded.
Yes.
Um,
But on that note,
yeah.
he started, sometimes he would come home, wouldn't come home,
Mhm.
stay in the city, say he was staying with his mother in the city, but never called me, never
Mhm.
called us, really, his
Mhm.
family. And he would just come home whenever he felt like it.
Mm.
He had full control.
Yep.
There was another incident in the Poconos
Mm.
where it was Mother's Day. And every Mother's Day, it was always his family.
Mm.
Okay. And then, oh, by the way, let's drop by your mom's house. So mom, which I regret to this day.
Mm.
So we would go hang, be with his family.
Mhm.
And then just on the way back to New Jersey, to the Poconos, we would drop by my mom's house.
Mhm.
We did that for many years.
Mhm.
And this one particular year, I decided I didn't want to go to Manhattan, to his family. I'm a mother too.
Mhm.
I wanted to go out with my little family. Actually, um, when that happened, back up a little bit, when that happened, you were still a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Joey was, I'm sorry, I
It's okay.
forget years.
It's okay.
But what I do remember is that because I didn't want to go to the city,
Mm-hmm.
I had you all dressed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were still a baby. Yes, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I had you all dressed up, and Joey was dressed up, you know, for Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And when I told him that I would like for us to go to a restaurant nearby in the Poconos, he got mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, I'm going to my mother's house.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, then you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that didn't sit well with him.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, Joe, come on, you're going to come with me, and I'm taking the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no. And he says, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, I'm a mother. I want to be with my children.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, I'm going to take the baby, and I'm going to go see my mom in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And my son said, I'm not going.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to my son, yes, you are going. And my son says, no, I'm staying with mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so Joe stayed in the room with me. He took the baby and put her in the car, put you in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to my car and he disconnected the cables so that I couldn't drive anywhere.
Mm.
I didn't know this until I was going to get in the car
To go, yeah.
to take Joey to eat. And he had disconnected everything when I opened up the hood.
Mm.
So I went back in the house. He had left with you already. He was gone. He went to the city. And God is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because my best friend Bernadette
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
happened to
Be in town.
be.
That's awesome. Yeah. Because kind of background here.
She had a house. She has a house up there.
Yeah.
And she came by, her and Mike, and they wanted to see you.
Yeah.
And then I explained what happened. And they took me down to Strasbourg,
Mm-hmm.
to the magistrate,
Mm-hmm.
to get a court order
Mm-hmm.
for what he had done.
Mm-hmm.
Michael put the cables back in the car, you know,
Yeah.
so we could function. The police were waiting by the time he got home with you.
Mm-hmm.
So the police told me, get the baby. I got the baby. And of course, Joy was with me. And then they told me, go inside, you know, put the baby to bed
Mm-hmm.
and take care of your son. And he was arrested that night.
Mm. Was that the first time he was ever arrested?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to preface this. My godparents,
Yes.
Bernadette and Michael, literally my second parents, they normally lived in New Jersey. So for them to even be in the Poconos at this point was not common.
It was God.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
They had the house, like they had the
would go-
vacation house.
Yeah,
But
they would go occasionally.
yeah,
But it just happens that they went that day.
yeah.
I'm sure there are so many women
Mm-hmm.
that go through this
Mm-hmm.
and that they keep it and do not share with anybody.
Yeah.
Embarrassment,
Mm-hmm.
failure. You know, you as I look back now,
Mm-hmm.
it was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible that I put my children
Mm-hmm.
to witness this kind of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That was so bad.
But hindsight is 20/20, right? And when you were in the middle of it, right, your goal was to do what was best for your kids.
Yes.
And a mother cannot be blamed for wanting to make sure that they were financially provided for, that they had a roof and a house over their head, right? That they were in school, right?
Yes.
And and again, I guess there's something to be said when you were raised to know that the family structure had to be mother, father, in same household with kids.
Right.
And going one step further, especially as you're sharing with me, and I'm learning honestly as we go through this, so thank you, is that, you know, although your best friend had that suspicion, and there's something about woman's intuition that science still can't explain, but, you know, there's that woman's intuition that, hey, I got to watch out for my best friend Eileen in her marriage. And they just happen to be there when you finally call the police for the first time.
Yes.
Right. But you still had that base understanding of, wait, a family still has to be this nuclear entity, this husband, wife, kids in the happy household with the picket fence and the dog, which we did have a dog.
Actually,
her name was
yes.
April. Right?
That's true.
Loved
That's
April,
true.
golden retriever.
We didn't have the station wagon.
We didn't have the station wagon.
But
no, we had other cars. But yes. So there is something you said, that you reached out for help, but that was temporary.
yes.
Right? Because even though he was arrested, he was released. What? Not even the next day? Yeah.
A day.
Yeah.
A day later.
And he came back.
And he came back.
Yeah.
And I had an order. I had an order of protection.
And he still came back.
And I violated it because I took him back.
I'm just going to preface this as an attorney.
Okay.
He violated it.
Okay.
He was the one who's prohibited from.
Right.
I just want to say this is more for your mental health.
Okay.
You did nothing wrong. He is the one who shouldn't have come back. He was told not to get in contact with you.
Right.
But yes, you did drop the DVPO.
Yes.
And he came back. And then the cycle started.
Yes.
The classic, and I know you are all about advocating for the power and control wheel. You want to make sure every single person in this universe knows about it.
Yes. Most definitely.
It is one of the tools that is used by domestic violence advocates and educators really worldwide at this point. And it really goes through the different parameters of what power and control will look like in a domestic violence situation.
Yes.
And that's the core goal of an abuser is power and control. And they do it in a number of different ways.
Yes.
You learned later about the power and control wheel, right? But he definitely exhibited a number of the characteristics on that wheel. Yes. Right.
Right.
And starting back then, even.
It continued.
Yeah.
It continued. There
were so many incidents.
There's so many incidents. Like one time he locked me out, and my son was the one that said to him, "Well, I'm letting her in." And so there were multitude of the violence just continued
for years,
and it seemed to just escalate. And
well, it didn't seem. It did, in fact, escalate.
It did.
Right?
It didn't seem. Right. You're right. It did escalate. I do have to say about an incident that occurred right there in the house in the Poconos. Okay, and it was on Thanksgiving.
Yep, I remember this incident. Yep,
and his mother,
because this was one of the first incidents where his violence occurred in front of other family members.
Yes, and it occurred in front of his mother. And again, I don't recall what took place, which really
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, but it took place. He lifted up a chair to hit me, and my son got in the way to protect me. And he broke my son's nose.
Yep.
And I left with him. And I remember going to a hotel in Stroudsburg or Scotland, around there.
Yeah.
And I had to take him to the hospital to be taken care of. I honestly believe that was the turning point for my son to just
Check out.
not care about his father.
Yeah. I know that from what I saw, because I remember that incident, and I don't
didn't
know.
even know you remember
I don't know
that.
if you know this. I remember this incident because I was still very young.
Yes.
I was.
You were very young.
What was I, like 5 or 6 years
Yeah,
old?
around there.
I was 5 or 6 years old, and I remember this because I had been in my bedroom, which I tended to be in my bedroom a lot
Yes.
because I was very averse to people yelling.
Yes.
And I actually was very averse to crowds too, because I also didn't always like going to his family's places.
Because they were always yelling.
They were always loud. They were always yelling. But it was always like 50 people in a 2-bedroom apartment in New York City, which, by the way, are as small as they look like on TV.
Right.
So I'll preface that. But I remember this instance specifically because I remember thinking, oh, this should not be happening right now. I remember seeing you and Joey coming down the hallway into the bathroom in this household. By the way, there was only one bathroom. Well, actually, no, you had a separate small master bath.
No.
No, you didn't. Okay, it was one bathroom.
It was, you're right, one bathroom.
There's this one bathroom, and I remember you and Joey coming down the hall, and I was so small. I was a small, skinny little thing.
Yes.
And I remember wiggling in because I was like, what's going on? You know, 2 people I love are upset. And I remember you taking towels off the rack to try to stop Joey's bleeding. I remember this. And I remember just trying to help you get the towels to help Joey. And I remember a lot of emotions. And I do think, and I could be wrong here, but I do think there were more family members there.
There might have been.
Yep.
But nobody intervened.
They did not intervene.
His family was his family, not mine.
Yeah, it was his family. And I remember thinking something very wrong has just happened. Granted, this is my 5-year-old mind. Something wrong has just happened, and no one's doing anything. And I was trying to help. And all I could think to do was to hand towels. And I remember this because you were using towels that was part of a set that you ended up throwing away, the ones that were very bloody, but some of that set remained with us for years. Yes. I remember that. I liked the set. It was like it had pale blue patterns on it.
Yes.
I know that's kind of odd to think about, but and the reason why I point that out, the reason why I point this out is even when children are young, they remember these incidences. They remember these things.
I didn't even know you remembered.
I can tell you with specificity which towel you were using to help Joey treat his nose. Yes. And I remember no one doing anything else. And that happens. That happens through today. Yes. People will see clear incidences of domestic violence and child abuse, because that's what that was, and do nothing. Under the guise of, oh, it's family. Oh, it was a misunderstanding. Oh, and they create some excuse. It's his temper. Well, that's still bad. Like, that's still violence. Anyway, I remember that. And I feel like that for Joey was a turning point. And I had a similar incident years later, which we'll get to. So that happens, but we stay. Joey ends up joining the military, right? He actually graduated, so plug for bragging about my bro. He graduated, very, very smart. Decides not to go to college immediately. Enlists in the Navy. I don't know why you go to boot camp at, what is it?
Chicago.
The Great Lakes. Yes. The Great Lakes base. Oh, so cold up there. I remember going to Chicago and I was little and it was so cold. I had 5 layers on from our days in New York City, and I arguably was colder in Chicago than I was in New York City. But he was actually so smart that they said to Joey, you actually can't enlist. You have to go to school. You're too smart. And he ended up going to the Naval Academy.
Yes, when he went there, one of the things that he told me about was, he said, Ma, I when he first went in there,
Yeah.
he said, Ma, the sergeant came over to me and said, Vera, why is your bunk well made? And no dirty clothes or anything. And he said that he heard a voice, clean up your room.
From his mom.
from his mom.
Yeah.
And I said, well, at least he got something from me, right? He did enlist, and he was passing everything.
Yeah.
With top grade, with top marks.
Yeah.
And they recommended,
Yeah.
the sergeant there recommended him, said to him, would he consider the Naval Academy?
Yeah.
And my son was like,
Sure.
well, okay.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. So he immediately calls me. He says, Ma, you have to get letters of reference from your teachers.
Yep.
A letter from the governor,
Yep.
I believe it was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or some higher official.
And I had to gather these papers
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
immediately. I got the papers, and he was accepted at the Naval Academy.
So it's kind of crazy because,
Yes.
Even through the rough times, obviously you would never want your son exposed to any of that. But he grew strong.
Yes.
And he was already smart. I'm
He
smarter
was-
because I went to law school, but
Uh-oh.
yeah. But he's very smart, right?
Very smart. Yeah.
Graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy.
Yes.
And so, and I also point that out, though, because he was at the Naval Academy and we were still living with my biological
Yes.
father. So to the
Yes.
outside eye, it seemed like we were this small, happy family, no issues, right? No apparent discord.
Yeah.
While in the household itself, we
Yes.
literally have bloody towels.
I did want to mention something that I remember, an incident that had occurred, and we were sitting. You remember the deck in the house in the Poconos? Joey sat on the deck, and you were playing in the little pool. I don't know if you remember the little pool.
Yeah.
And I sat down next to Joe, and Joe said, Mom, leave Daddy. I'll take care of you and Theresa. And I always remember that. Because you were little skinny and jumping in the baby pool.
Yeah.
So him going to the academy and thinking back, all these things that happened and that they witnessed, to see him graduate from the Naval Academy. I believe he might have been the only Puerto Rican in that class.
Represent, yep.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
What an honor.
Yeah, what an honor. Yeah.
That's why I say I believe in God. God is good.
Yep. So Joey had already moved out of the house when we decided to move to North Carolina.
He was already at the academy.
Yeah, he's already at the academy. It was interesting because I know you and I had been in a car accident and because of the weather.
Yes.
Yep. And that
And he sued me for that.
Okay, side story here. I'm going to just summarize the story real quick.
Okay.
So I remember this. So my mom and I, because I believe actually my father was spending one of his long nights in New York City, whatever. And you and I wanted to get a Christmas tree.
Yes.
And we had historically done getting like a real Christmas tree, but that had stopped a number of years at this point. It was just too much work, if you will, for the man of the house. So you and I had contemplating this plan to go to Kmart when Kmarts were still around. Was it Kmart or Sears?
Ames.
Ames, a store that really is not even around. Okay, anyway, to go to Ames and get a Christmas tree, one of those fake Christmas trees. Unfortunately, as is the case in the winters in the Poconos, there was a lot of snow and there was a lot of black ice. Unfortunately, my mom's Jeep Cherokee slipped on black ice, came head-on collision into a big tree.
Telephone pole.
Telephone pole. It was a telephone pole. And thank God we both walked away, but we were severely injured.
Yes.
I do remember, though, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you worked at the local hospital.
Yes.
And thank God a couple cars down was a doctor, one of the doctors at the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so he came out of his car,
Yes.
immediately started triaging the situation.
Yes.
And
he treated you, actually.
And he treated me.
He put a pressure on your
compress.
forehead.
Yep. So luckily we were being treated by a doctor in the midst of right after this accident, and an ambulance came, rushed us to the hospital. I had over 22 stitches in my forehead, and you had a number of stitches in your lip. Yep. And it was a very traumatic, unfortunate accident. I ended up staying home from school for a month.
Yeah.
I even had a little crush. His name was Tommy, and he sent me a little love letter. Yeah.
Yeah.
She remembers that.
Look
It's
at
really
that.
cute. Anyway, I still remember. Oh, little Tommy. And I think I was in second grade.
Yeah, I
right?
remember
I was in
Tommy.
second grade. And and we made it through. We did fine. Had to do some after, operation treatment, and had to get the stitches out because this is before the self-dissolving stitches.
Yes.
Right. Hated that. I think that's that with some other issues. I hate needles, by the way. Everyone knows I hate needles. But anyway, and that was done. And then to your comment a moment ago, my father sues my mother. So I have to laugh because this is just crazy. This is a storyline that even Law and Order can't think of. But this is what happened. So he sued my mom for the injuries to me.
Yes.
And so it turned into basically a personal injury claim. It went through the courts. I had to go, and actually this was my first appearance in a courtroom, right?
Yes.
I had to go into a courtroom at the age of about 8 and basically testify in a way that it's not a testimony as we see it on Law and Order, but basically be there for the judge to see that, yes, I was in fact in an accident, and that I had multiple stitches, etc. And I remember this. I remember the judge because the judge called him out. I don't know if you were there, but the judge called him out.
There.
Yeah, because there is my father who is there on my behalf. He never retained an attorney. Then there's the attorney on behalf of the insurance agency. And my father asked for all this sum of money. And long story short, the judge did rule in my quote unquote favor, but and got money for some of the medical damages. But then the judge awarded $10,000 for my emotional distress. But then the judge called him out. I remember this. The judge called him out and said, "Sir, I just want to make sure this money is actually for this child's benefit. So we're going to put it into trust, into an account with a local bank, and named the bank as the executor of this trust. And the only directive for the bank was that when I turned 18, I would get the $10,000 plus the passive interest, and it would only go to me." And the judge made sure not a dime went to my biological father.
Yes.
That, my friends, is a good judge.
Yeah.
Good judge.
That was a good judge.
Could see straight through.
Through him. Yep.
Straight through him. And I'll bring back that story later, but because it impacts us later. But so I remember that. So that was when I was younger.
Yes.
But due to the reality of it is kind of dangerous to be where there's a lot of snow and black ice, and we were just sick of the weather, we ended up moving to North Carolina. And I remember I was at the start of middle school, and you luckily got well, we followed him for his job. He actually was hired by Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yes.
If anyone has ever heard of them. Was the second highest paid computer programmer in the state. just to give you an idea of his income.
He made a lot
status.
of money.
Yep.
A lot of money.
Made a lot of money.
Second from the head of Blue Cross Blue Shield. His salary was very, very high.
Very high. And just to give the listener a context of our standard of living at this point, even though the house in the Poconos was small, we had from the outside looking in, a pretty bougie lifestyle. My father had a Mustang when Mustangs were the thing. He transitioned that into a Pontiac Trans Am T-top, where you take off the glass roof.
I call it the middle-age crisis car.
Yes, there's that. I went to a Phantom of the Opera Broadway show by the age of 7.
Yep.
Right? Saw cats. That was kind of weird, seeing adult-sized cats when you're a kid, right? So, and you had your minks and your heels and your fancy makeup.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I actually had a pony.
Yes.
At one point.
That's
I had a pony. Yep.
Yep.
Literally a kid with a pony at one point.
Yeah.
And I point all that out because, again, from the outside looking in, we not only looked like a happy, healthy family, we looked like we were doing good. Fast forward
That's correct.
to our move to North Carolina, where we got a pretty nice 3-story house, cul-de-sac, Cary, North Carolina. Central area of relocated Yankees. I'll give them that plug.
Yes.
And nice neighborhood. But unfortunately, the abuse did not stop.
No. I had thought that by moving to North Carolina, I thought that it would change, that things would change. But this is the pattern. This is, we women, that's what we think. That's what we want, okay? After all the education that I have received, now after everything, I learned that it was more of a denial. Oh, he's going to change. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And that is, if you happen to look at the circle, the power and control wheel, it all just keeps going around in circles. So no, things didn't stop.
So we have had a lot to cover with my mom, the Madre. So for this episode, we are going to take a pause, and there will be a part 2 coming up in 2 weeks. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our discussion. To learn more about me and the Modern Legal team, go to our website, modernlegalnc.com, or check out the links in our show notes to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can also call us at 704-286-6302. If you have been intrigued by the conversation and would like us to continue our discussions, please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. See you next time.